What's up, YouTube? Dave Nod here. So the project I got today, well, it's been a couple days here, is my 2012 Cadillac Escalade. It's got the 6.2 in it. I started getting the lifter knock. I've been running the Holley Diablo tuner in it, where I deleted the active fuel management, the DOD, and I was hoping that would help, but it came, and it started getting pretty loud. It's been probably like a month or so that it's been knocking. Here's the cam, and this was the worst lobe right here. You can see the pretty good ridge in it. That was about the only one. There's a couple other ones with pretty good wear, considering it's roller rockers or roller lifters. So I ordered a kit from Brian Tooley Racing. It was like $1,300. I just let him know what I had. I ended up upgrading my cam. I got rid of the variable valve timing, so I took all the tension urn out, and it just had I think they call it a chain dampener. All it is a piece of plastic that's like fits between the cam gear and the crank gear. So to put that on, you got to remove the pump and the pan and the pickup, which they don't supply any gaskets for the pan. But the cam I ended up getting a 553 lift, 112 center line, 256 intake, and 262 exhaust duration. Here's the cam card. I ended up replacing the water pump, belt tensioner, belt idler pulley. I put a new oil pump on it. It came with head gaskets. It came with different valve springs. Came with a different front cover because you don't need the one because of the delete of the VVT. Came with the gasket for the front. New head bolts. It didn't come with the new crank bolt. Had to get that. Came with new bolts that put the front timing cover on. It came with the plugs that go in here. I didn't put them in yet, so they're just like little metal pins. You put them in here and just slam them in with a hammer, I guess. I haven't done that yet, but we'll see. Maybe I can do it with you. My heads were pretty dirty. I took those apart, cleaned them all up. While I had them all apart, I took them on the mill and surfaced them. Installed all new valve springs, lapped the valves, cleaned the valves, new head gaskets, cleaned the surface of the heads. Cleaned the oil pan. The oil pan was pretty dirty. I have like probably 120,000 on it. It's pretty shitty in there. I've been doing oil changes when it says to. I think I'm gonna do it a little more often. wasn't really leaking too much. Other than that, it was pretty nice. I had one bad, because of that one spot in the cam, that lifter obviously was bad, which I replaced all of them. The kit came with all new lifters. Came with the holders for the lifters. I had one bad push rod and one bad rocker arm. So I replaced that. They gave you new gaskets for valve covers. They want you to reuse your intake gaskets, which I got new intake gaskets. Just bought them, O'Reilly's. I bought the oil pan gasket from O'Reilly's and the oil pump from AutoZone. It's just a Melling. Most of my parts I get from O'Reilly's. I putting a new water pump on it. Couple tools you definitely need. You need the tool that holds the flywheel. Let's pull it out here. So this tool right here locks into the flywheel. It bolts on where the starter goes. You definitely need that. You need a 24 millimeter for the balancer bolt or pulley, front pulley bolt. You really need a special puller to pull that puller or the balancer pulley off. You can buy them on Amazon pretty cheap. And then you really should have the tool that centers up the cover on the front. I had a buddy with an old pulley that went in the front that he kind of bored out the center, so it was more of a slip fit, and that worked perfect. But I mean, you can buy the tools on Amazon for $24 comes with the front one, the one for the rear, and it comes with the pan rail for the back too. I ended up ordering it just so I have it in the future. I ordered the lock, and it wouldn't hurt to have the plate for lifting them out. And if you want to do this on the cheap, your valley cover plate, you can use this after you delete those. You pound those in. You can leave all the variable valve timing stuff on there if you want, but you don't have to. Take it all off. I clean up the gasket. You'll just use the gasket and the cover. You do have a filter that goes inside here. This is where your oil pressure gauge is. You can discard that because it's just going to your oil pressure gauge after this. So you don't really need to filter the oil going to your gauge. But to block off the oil from leaking and going nowhere and giving you no pressure, you got your one hole, the feed hole here. You don't even have to drill it. Take a 1/4-20 tap and use a grub screw or set screw or whatever, and you can just tap it in a little ways, and then don't do it all the way through. That way it has a good stop. Red Loctite that thing in and put that set screw. And then this is a 1/2-inch NPT. Drill it. You got to kind of drill it out a little bit with a 23 30-second drill bit. So you drill it out with that, and then tap it for 1/2-inch NPT, National Pipe Thread, and then get you can get the brass one. I have a couple aluminum ones on intakes and stuff like that. And then this is where the electrical connector is. So you want to plug that up. And when you tap in those, you want to go about halfway down the tap. And a 1/2-inch NPT hand tapping, it's not easy. So take your time. make sure you got this really tight. I clamped it to my table on my milling machine and tapped it by hand. But you do that, then you can use this. Or for 50 bucks, you can just buy one off of Amazon. That's a whole new cover. It comes with the gasket, comes with the bolts. And just look for the one where it has the seals on the center. You don't really need that. You do technically have these plugs in the valley. So it's kind of up to you. I mean, I'm going to do both. I'm going to tap these in, and then I actually have one ordered. It should be here in a couple days, but I wanted to do that and put it on, and so when I put the motor back in the car, it's not getting full of shit. Got everything else cleaned. I got the heads on here and the bolts started. I do have to torque them yet. And then I can start putting them on. I had one bolt that broke off in the head when I was taking them off. Came right off. I welded a nut on, came right out. Super easy. One of my exhaust manifold bolts for the 3 studs on the bottom of it, one of those broke. Heated it up with the torch and came right out. Welded a nut on it. And I ended up just taking them all out. Had a buddy help me. And heat them all up and just replace them all. That's about the only broken bolts. It went pretty easy for a Wisconsin vehicle. Like I said, you gotta replace that front pulley bolt. It was $7 at O'Reilly's. It's torque to yield. I guess you can get an ARP one that's reusable. So if you plan on doing kind of a performance motor that you're going to be taking apart, might want to get ARP bolts so you can reuse them. Most of these bolts are torque to yield, so you torque it to a certain thing and then 90 degrees. My dipstick tube was a little rusty. I replaced that. That was a pain to get out. Getting the balance or the torque converter bolts off, boy, does that suck. They don't give you much room. Other than that, that's about it. I can whack a couple of these and see how it goes, and then I can show you how I'm doing it. Just hold on one second. Let me get all my stuff, and I'll be right back. Okay, here's the heads. You see this one? Ooh, yeah. I'll start with that. I'm just using a regular hammer. I tried a brass hammer, and all it does is dent the brass hammer like that. See that? So that's a dumb idea. So this one worked good. It just flattened those out. A couple hits. That's it. Then add 2 more, and that's how many I did before I filmed. So that's how easy those are. All right. I hope you liked that demonstration. Wasn't very hard. So any questions, if you're doing a DOD variable valve time and delete, want to leave a comment or have a question, let me know. I'm at the point where I'm just going to torque the heads and then ready to install. About the only a couple big things are like the oil pump when you put it on and mount it. The best way I found to do it is take all the cover bolts off. Get two 2/1000 feeler gauges. So you gotta get one where they're straight, and just put them in the longer parts of on the outer ring, the longer parts where it's more surface area, and that about centers it. So once you get that centered and you have your bolts kind of started, you can tighten them down to 18 foot-pounds. It's like everything on here is, if it's a like 10 millimeter bolt, it's like 18 foot-pounds, and then all the smaller bolts are like 106 inch-pounds. So those are like most of your torque specs. So you torque those at 18 foot-pounds, and then you can pull those feeler gauges out after you tighten it, and then that feeler gauge is pretty much able to go all the way around. You're really centered. I probably wouldn't waste my money on those two fixtures that mount in a couple of the timing cover bolt holes, and then it's supposed to keep the pump in the same spot. Just pull the cover off and you can make sure it's centered. And then you can inspect the gears, make sure it's not worn. Mine were a little worn, so I replaced them. Besides that, make sure you got the O-ring on the pickup right. A lot of times, I guess that's why you don't have oil pressure, or very much oil pressure. And then, make sure you install those plugs in your lifter valley there, or you ain't gonna have any oil pressure. It's just gonna bleed out of there. So, all right. Thank you guys. Like and subscribe if you like some of this. If you have any, comments or questions, or anything you want to see that, is in my budget, let me know. All right. Thanks, guys. Happy New Year's.